Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Cast. I am Tammy Munson, your host here. I am so excited that you are joining me today. And y'all, I have to say, I am very excited. It is November. I may or may have not decorated my entire house, but today is a very special episode for me. I have two of my very favorite people, Chrissie and Lisa of the Wonder Podcast, here on the show today. And we're going to talk about all the things, y'all. How they got started, how they met, all kinds of really cool things. So I'm very excited about doing this. So without further ado, here's Lisa and Chrissie. You guys, welcome to the Creative Cast. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Well, thank you, Tammy. We are so excited to be here. I'm Chrissie and Lisa.
And I'm Lisa. Hello.
We are so excited to be with Tammy.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, and it's so funny having you guys on the other side of the mic, as you guys are hosts of the Wonder Podcast. And I'm usually listening to you while I'm editing your podcast. So this is so much fun. So much fun. Let's just kind of start. Each of you can share a little bit about yourself.
Lisa, you go right ahead and I'll follow you.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Well, that rarely happens. So this is going to be a good day. I get to go first.
Age before beauty.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I'm a native Texan, grew up in Texas and lived here all my life. Met Chrissie at our church, where we go to church in Plano, Texas. Probably I met her, 20 years ago, I guess, around there. And we became fast friends. And about 5 years ago, we started talking to each other about doing a podcast. And we thought it was really at that point a pipe dream, if I recall, because she was the women's minister at our church. I was doing other things. Both of us were doing a ton of speaking. And so we'd actually spoken together a lot. And so we knew we had some camaraderie. We knew we had chemistry. And we thought it'd be so much fun to do a podcast, but we never thought it would happen. And lo and behold, it happened. And here we are. We've been doing it about 3.5 years now for the Wonder Podcast. And it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, on that podcast, we just talk about all things everyone wonders about, or in a biblical context. And so it's been a lot of fun. And I'm married, have a husband, have 2 daughters, 2 sons-in-law, 5 grandsons, a granddaughter on the way. That's kind of the big picture of our life. Yeah, that's kind of how it got started. A little bit about me.
Awesome.
And yes, I am from Oklahoma, but have actually lived in Texas longer than I've lived in Oklahoma. I married my childhood sweetheart. I shouldn't say childhood, high school sweetheart, Charlie Dunham. And we have 2 daughters also, and I have 5 grandchildren. So Lisa is going to win the grandparenting race. Used to, my girls started producing first. And so we would always take a picture with each other. And I'd say, well, here's number 1. Here's number 2, and kind of kid her daughters. So now they're taking the lead, and I'm excited for that. But we have 5 grandchildren. We have 4 boys and 1 little redhead, beautiful girl. And I call her Lil Red. She's my little girl, the only one we're going to have. She's precious. Cute. She loves life, let me tell you. So life is full. I was the women's minister at Prestonwood, wore a lot of different hats during those years, worked there for 18 and a half years, met Lisa there, as she said. We did lots of ministry together. She's also a part of Sky Ranch, which is a Christian family children's camp that she's been a part of for a long time. And we spoke there, and we had great fun together, plus being good friends. And the Lord just put us together. And I was looking for something fresh and new in our women's ministry, and podcasting had kind of become popular, but not really. It was kind of new at the time. And the man that I reported to, I talked to him about it, and he said, yeah. Or he said, let me think about it. And then I said, well, I'd really like Lisa Clark to do it with me. And he's like, oh, okay then. So Lisa carried a lot of clout because her daughter is married. That is her daughter's father-in-law. So that's the ha-ha that we have between each other, that he would have probably said no until I said Lisa Clark.
So Lisa made it happen.
Lisa made it happen.
I got it.
That's kind of my tagline. I make things happen. That's what people say about me.
That's what she does. Yeah, that's exactly what she does.
I absolutely love it. Well, this is like the show of daughters, because I also have 2 daughters. They're younger. The oldest one's 23 and the youngest turned 20 October 20th. We'll have to do a whole nother episode just on girls.
Yes.
Because I got questions for y'all. But I really love to hear the stories behind how people get their podcast started. So you guys met, you wanted to do this podcasting thing. What was the beginning days of that like for you guys? Like, what obstacles did you kind of come across and how did you figure it out?
It's really pretty funny because while I was on staff at the church, and I was still the women's minister for what, Lisa, the first 2 years of our podcast?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So on Wednesday nights, being good Baptists, we always had our, what I call fellowship hall, our commons area open for people to grab dinner before they went to their Wednesday night activities. And I would always wander down there and just hang out with people and visit with people and see who was there. And I struck up a friendship with a man named Mark Friedman. Had no idea who he was. Well, over the course of time, as we sat there having conversations at this long table, I realized, oh my gosh, this is Frito. This is Frito Nation, the man of radio, sports radio here in the Dallas area. So we grew in this friendship, and then he started his doing podcasts. He started doing what you do, Tammy, producing podcast shows for different people. So I told him this idea and he said, well, gosh, I can help you guys get started. Lisa and I, to this day, are still not very educated on the whole process, but we do very well. Lisa is actually our representative. She is the technical guru of podcasts for us. Which is not saying just a whole lot.
Saying much at all, because we have been on the struggle bus. Tammy has done a great job for us of just getting us the information we need. And like Chrissy said, Mark got us started. Tammy has carried the baton for us now and done just a great job of just giving us inside information and helping us. When we first got started, we didn't know exactly what we wanted to call this thing or what we wanted to talk about. We just knew that God had given us a message, and we loved Bible study. We loved talking with people. We loved encouraging people. And so how does that manifest itself in a podcast? Well, Chrissy was at the same, I guess it was a Christmas Eve service where the pastor was talking about the wonders of God and how all of it is just, everything is full of wonder because there's so many questions in life, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we do wonder about a lot of different things. And as we were thinking about this podcast, I remember her saying, that just struck me, like the wonders of God. She goes, we will never run out of things to talk about. And she's exactly right. We haven't. 3.5 years later, we're still talking about things people wonder about. I mean, we're talking about things, we talk recipes, we talk the Bible. We're getting ready to record part of our Bible study series on 2 Peter. We talk about decorating. We talk about friendship. We talk about how to make everything.
And everything. I absolutely love it. Every time I sit down to listen to an episode, I'm like, ooh, this is good. I need this.
Yeah, we love to have guests on because we're an untapped resource. Let's be honest. I'm kidding. We have to bring on experts to help us talk through different things. So we've had all kinds of people on. We've had authors when books have released, and we are very blessed to be a part of a large church, and we're blessed to be a part of, the Lord has given us great connections and relationships. So we've had some amazing people on our podcast, and it's just been quite the ride.
Yeah, it has.
That's awesome. Awesome. So if there's somebody listening out there that they're, because I believe that storytelling is so powerful. by sharing your story and sharing kind of what you've been through, or, whether it's starting a podcast or really anything out there, that sometimes just hearing someone else's story going, oh, you know what? I can do that too. So what advice would you ladies have for someone who is kind of thinking, I'm thinking about starting a podcast, but I don't know. What would you guys say to them?
Here's what I love about the podcast world, just the tiny little bit I know, and the people that I listen to and the people that I respect is, Lisa and I giggle because we're inside a closet in our home.
Right.
And Tammy has guided us with microphones to buy and all of that, because like we've confessed, we don't know a whole lot. And that's what I've learned about even people that are well known in the podcast world, or well known Bible teachers to me, is they're in closets too. All over America, podcasters are inside their closets because it is something that you can do at home with your computer. You just need a few extra things, a nice microphone, some great connection, that type of thing. So you don't have to go into a big production studio. There are people that do, but so for a low budget and for a little bit of help from a producer like Tammy, then you are set, and you just wait for your message, whatever the message is that you have to say. In our case, the Lord gives us ideas, and we pray about things individually, and then we start talking, and lo and behold, we have a show, or we have an idea, or we have a theme, or we know somebody we want to have on, and you just keep your ears peeled to what's going on around you. So, I say it's easy. It really was kind of easy, actually. And you just, Google it. As people do these days. You can Google anything and educate yourself. Because Lisa, I'll be Googling and say, oh my gosh, how did you figure that out? She goes, well, I just went online and Googled, how do you do this?
Friend.
Yes. And lo and behold, she figured it out. So
it's true.
I guess my message is, if we can do it, anybody can do it.
And I think that is the message that I would just echo that as well, because if you feel like God's given you a message and you would like to launch your own podcast, just do it. And it's what I say to people I wrote a book about 5 years ago called Raising Sinners. And everyone's like, oh, I really wanted to write a book, or I really want to write a book. Write it. Just start writing. There's a book in every one of us. I totally believe there's a book in every one of us. Just like you said, Tammy, we're storytellers. Just do it. Just start writing. Get out the Word document on your computer and start writing, because that's how you get started. And then you just keep going, and all of a sudden you've got a book, and then you find a way to publish it or get it published or whatever. But
sure. Yeah.
The same thing with a podcast. If you feel like God's given you a word, just start it. And you don't even need a microphone. I don't think. You could actually just turn on the computer and start recording. And now, if you want to sound good and not like you are in the closet with your headphones, in your computer. We started out in a studio, and we have moved into our closets with a, microphone. But so however you get started, you might not stay that way, but anyway, just get started, because truly, I think all of us have a message, and just like we all have a book in us.
Right. Absolutely. One of my main things is just get started, see where it goes, try it out, try it on, see if it's a good fit for you. You want to grow it, you can hire help with that, hire a strategist, a coach, an editor, producer, whatever. I am all for that. I would love to see everyone have a podcast or write a book or just tell their story, because you never know who that's going to affect.
That's right. And in our world, when I think of the word storytelling, that's how the gospel is shared, is through stories. Yes. No one can argue your story. No one can argue your testimony or what you've experienced. So it's just a series of telling stories. And isn't that what Jesus did? He went around and he told stories. He told parables. He told about experiences. And those people went and told, and those people went and told. And that's the call that Lisa and I have on our life, is to tell the story. And podcasting is just a great way that the Lord has given us this vehicle to use. And I'm so excited that he did.
Yes. And really, that's kind of how my idea to have my own podcast got started. It was a calling. God said, use your voice. And I was like, okay. then through research and feedback and stuff like that, I figured, oh, well, I'm a podcaster. I really should have a podcast, right? Or I produce podcasts for a living. I should probably have a podcast, and the Creative Cast was born from that. So God is always talking to us, and sometimes you just kind of have to figure out, what is he really saying? What does he really want me to do? And sometimes it takes time, but it's always there. Lisa, you mentioned Raising Sinners, and you guys are so busy, and now you guys have a new podcast called Raising Sinners on the Christian Parenting Network. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Just the Lord opened up some doors, and so here we are. Christian Parenting is a great resource for millions now of parents, and if you don't know about them, Google it, like we said, but find them on Facebook and Instagram, and then their website, christianparentingnetwork.org. But they approached us probably a year ago, asking us if we would be interested in joining their network and starting a new additional podcast called Raising Sinners, based on the book. The name is based on the book, but the content is not. We're not going through the book or anything. We're just talking about all things raising kiddos. And so Chrissie and I prayed about it, and we just thought, you know what, this seems like a fun thing to do. We kind of adjusted our schedule to where now we're dropping 2 Wonder Podcast episodes a month and 2 Raising Sinners episodes a month. So it's just we're not recording all the time, and that kind of keeps everything moving. Sure. But it's been a lot of fun. We've just got started. We just launched in September. So join the ride. We started out talking about how to have a close-knit family. We did 3 episodes on that. And now we're moving into what if your children don't quite fit the mold? How do you do that? We're going to be talking about raising kids in close community and how community affects their spiritual growth. And so we've got some great things to talk about over the next few months, and it's been a fun ride so far.
Awesome. Well, I listened to several episodes. I absolutely love it. Great job, ladies. Really, seriously, great job.
Thank you.
Can you kind of fill in everyone, like where they can listen to the Wonder Podcast, where they can listen to Raising Sinners, where they can follow you guys at?
Yeah, it's basically just on anywhere that you listen to a podcast, you'll be able to find us. It's called the Wonder Podcast, and it comes on every other Thursday. We will drop a new show. I guess that's the right term. Drop it. Tammy makes that happen. And you can follow us on Instagram, and we do a little bit on Facebook, but we are big Instagrammers. We have a great team. We have a girl down in Houston. Her name is Liz, that she makes us look better than we are on Instagram. We post and keep that active, but you will hear the Wonder Podcast one Thursday, and then the next Thursday you can hear us on Raising Sinners, all things about raising your children. And that's the other Thursday. So it is called Raising Sinners, and we'd love for you guys to join us and throw us stars and give us great feedback. Lisa tells me that's what we need to stay on the air.
Yes, definitely.
We need stars. We need stars.
Yes, definitely go over and subscribe, rate, and review.
Yes.
The Wonder Podcast, as well as Raising Sinners. Yeah, definitely. It's a great show. I highly, highly recommend both of them. So, ladies.
Can I just add one more thing that's coming up that we're very excited about? One of the neatest things about being a part of the Christian Parenting Network is they do conferences online. So everyone does videos. Everyone that's invited to be a part. And Lisa and I have been invited twice. This is our second time. And that conference you can buy, and it'll last till the end of the year. So you can watch all kinds of things. There are so many subjects out there that people have recorded, that they've done videos on, so you can watch them, and you can watch them as many times as you want till the end of the year. It's a minimal price. So if you go to Christian Parenting Network and look all that up, it's Perfectly Imperfect, and it is an amazing resource, and we are thankful and blessed that we get to be a part of it. So I'd love for your listeners to go find that because a new one's getting ready to release.
Absolutely. We will definitely do that. I will drop that in the show notes for everyone. So don't worry about it. I'll put all the links in there for you. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so glad we did this. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long, long time. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy. You're the best.
On next week's episode of the Creative Cast is something that I hear all the time, especially when talking with clients or ladies that are thinking about starting a podcast. And it's usually like, well, I want to have a podcast, but I hate the sound of my own voice. What do I do? And I guarantee there is someone out there right now that needs to hear the message that only you can share. Not her, not him, not anybody else, but you. Like we talked about earlier, every story matters and the world needs to hear your message. So next week, we're going to be talking about exactly that. So you don't want to miss that episode. That'll be next Monday here on the Creative Cast. Now, don't forget to sign up for my email list. So right now you get free access to how to launch a killer podcast in just 6 weeks. I lead you step by step through this, y'all. Go over to TammyMunsonCreative.com and sign up for the email list. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. You can email me at hello, HELLO, at TammyMunsonCreative.com. Now, ladies, I believe in you. Y'all are my heroes. You know I believe that inexperience, production fatigue, and intimidating tech should not hold you back. So let's walk through this journey together for you to spend less time worrying about the details and more time spreading your message. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next Monday. Bye, y'all.